RLCSX began on September 15th for the Oceanic region, as over 100 teams competed in the largest open qualifying event of the year. The qualifier was then followed up by a top 32 group stage to determine our top 16 teams. After a week-long break, play resumed then on the 22nd with our top 16 teams playing in yet another 5 rounds of Swiss in an attempt to qualify for the top 4. Arriving on the scene were your expected entrants such as Renegades, Ground Zero, and Cringe Society. However, there were some surprise teams like the Wombologists, best name ever by the way, and Vort Central. The Swiss format delivered us some riveting matchups. Round 1 saw mostly expected results aside from an upset as Hazard was able to defeat the Gaming Gamers. Round 2 saw Mindfreak take on Fury in a Season 9 semi-final rematch, with Requiem leading Mindfreak to a victory with some insane mechanical prowess. The action accelerated in Round 3 as Mindfreak went the distance against the Renegades. We also got to see Deca fully integrated into this monstrous Cringe Society lineup as they faced against Ground Zero. Now playing with the Season 9 MVP Amphis, Ground Zero proved to be a tough match, and the two juggernauts produced one hell of a series, with Torsos eventually securing that victory for Cringe Society. It was a very tense overtime. Round 4 gave us 2020's version of El Clasico, with Cringe Society taking on their apex rivals, the Renegades. It was the Renegades who prevailed as the victor after a 5-game series that could only be described as an offensive explosion. Other than that though, notable matches from Round 4 saw Vort Central upset Fury and Mindfreak clean sweep the Direwolves, and the Gaming Gamers took a pivotal victory over the 6-man battalion. The final round of Stage 2 saw Mindfreak face against the Dark Horse Vort Central in a win-and-in series. Game 3 overtime saw Caveman Finn linking up with Fever to take the pivotal 2-1 series lead that they would no longer give up. They took the series, and joining them would be Cringe Society, Renegades, and the Gaming Gamers, who despite 2 early losses had managed to fight their way back and qualify into the top 4. Our Final 4 double elimination bracket began with the Red Hot Renegades taking on the Gaming Gamers. Game 1 of the best of 7, the Renegades put forth an offensive assault that would leave the Gamers scattered and panicked. The young lineup would face similar struggles in the second game as the Renegades continued to shut them out. It really wouldn't be until Game 3 where finally we saw the Gaming Gamers get at least 1 goal on the board, but after a quick Renegades retaliation, the Gamers defense would scramble once again, allowing the Renegades to take the series with a dominant 4-0 scoreline. Then, back to the other side of the bracket, we saw a hungry Cringe Society square off against the very impressive Mindfreak. Until this point, each team had only dropped 1 series, both to the Renegades, yet it was Cringe Society's Drippe who exhibited a renewed confidence in his return to the OCE region in a tight-knit series. Game 6 proved to be pivotal when the cracks in Mindfreak's armor started to show, allowing the aggressive Cringe Society to capitalize and take the series 4-2. Following that loss, Mindfreak would need to bounce back against the Gaming Gamers in what was the first elimination match. The Gamers got off to a cold start, conceding a dominant 5-0 victory to Mindfreak, and this was followed up by a second shutout, providing Mindfreak with a very comfortable 2-0 lead. Whilst the Gamers would eventually warm up and take 2 games back, helped of course by a stunning performance from the up-and-comer Fiber, the damage, it had already been done. Mindfreak's experience and expert mechanical play by the likes of Fever were able to quell the Gamers' comeback and advance with a 4-2 match victory. Next up was the winner's final. Again, 2020's El Clasico, Renegades versus Cringe Society. Until now, the Renegades had not dropped a series since the Spring Series earlier in the year. However, this would prove to be a very different result, with Drippe pulling off multiple plays that fans have been clamoring to see since his return. Cringe Society would not be stopped, sweeping the Renegades 4-0. Yet, for that rematch to occur, the Renegades would have to defeat Mindfreak one last time in the losers final, and in the opening game, it felt as if the confidence and momentum were truly lost from those Spring Series champions. Mindfreak let loose an offensive explosion, taking Game 1 5-2, yet this momentum would not last as the Renegades just needed one small 2-1 victory in Game number 2 to seemingly refine themselves and follow it up with their own dominant 4-0 victory in Game number 3. Yet, It was in Game 4 where nerves seemed to afflict both sides' decision making. With each team playing far more passively, the slower paced game eventually did benefit Mindfreak, who just needed one sniper shot from Caveman Ben to tie the series at 4 apiece. Now, up until this point, Mindfreak's defense, led by Requiem, had been holding its ground admirably against the aggressive posturing of Kami. Yet, following a heartbreaking loss in Game 5, Mindfreak would not recover as the Renegades pulled off the elusive Brazil scoreline, 7-1, in Game number 6 to secure themselves into the Grand Final. After 4 full days of action, it was time for the Grand Final. The veteran Renegades, the revigored Cringe Society, only one would stand atop the OCE mountain. History would normally tell us that it would be the Renegades who takes the crown, but this time, once again, it would be different. With the addition of Deca, Drippe was given more room on the field, unlocking his full potential. This gave Cringe Society a flying start. However, Renegades would come back to equalize the series at 2 apiece. 2 overtimes would prove to be the Achilles heel of the Renegades, as Cringe Society wrapped up the series with a fantastical effort from the likes of Torsos. He paved his own path with a demo and then shot to secure the game-winning and tournament-ending goal. Our first regional event saw its fair share of upsets, yet to some, this final result was months in the making. Cringe Society had been touted as an OCE super team that had been struggling to reach its full potential. They've now proved their might with not 1, but 2 victories over the Renegades, a matchup seeming to be the premier rivalry this upcoming RLCSX. Our second fall regional begins again on September 5th with another open qualifier. Signups, they'll be posted on that ESL website, so be sure to check it out if you want to compete with some of the region's, nay, the world's best.